Welcome. We bid you welcome, John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, and with my 5 count partner, my fellow outlaw, my fellow guy with the pairs of boots, the this other man who's here comes the trouble. I'm just gonna just making this up as I go. John, the music nut. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, and I'm not scared to sport a you know what at 52. How about you?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to. I probably I need to do a few Hail Marys after this episode because oh boy, oh my goodness, we
I'm
it's
sorry in
gonna be good.
advance.
Yes, yes. This is gonna be a fun little month. We are gonna have some fun talking about a little band out of Austin, Texas. They are called Dangerous Toys.
Dangerous toys.
with with its mascot Bill Z
Well,
Bub. Gotta love that. It's just like just like
yeah.
Iron Maiden has Eddie. Dangerous Toys got Bill, and I can't imagine either of the other without him. So, quick little history here on Dangerous Toys. So they formed back in October of 1987. Jason McMaster, the golden throat of Dangerous Toys, was singing for a band called Watchtower, and he was invited by a guy named Tim Tremblay to join his band Onyx, spelled with two X's, as the singer. Now, Onyx also included, let's see, Scott Dahlhover,
Hmm.
Mark Geary on drums,
Right.
and Mike Watson on bass. So by 1988, they started calling themselves Dangerous Toys. They get signed to Columbia Records. So they made a pretty big impact and splash pretty fast. Um, but however, they lose Tim Tremblay. He leaves the band. Um, and Scott Oliver plays all of the guitar tracks on this first album, which was produced by Max Norman. Of course, Max Norman produced the first two Ozzy albums and was involved on those. He also worked with Megadeth, worked with many other artists as well. I think he also did some Loudness stuff, if my memory serves me correctly.
Correct.
Um, they then would get, let's see, you can't really see him that well, but Danny Aaron would join on
Mhm.
guitar for the
Yep, that's right.
subsequent tour. So, even though he appears on the cover, but he doesn't play on it. So by May of 1989, um, this album gets released, makes a pretty good splash, goes gold. Only peaked at 65. Had a couple singles, which we'll talk about the songs here in just a second. John, I know you got some. Well, you'll probably have a lot of good tour dates because yeah, they certainly did a lot of touring. Um,
Hmm.
uh, I will be talking about the Dangerous Toys Nation. Y'all just came out of the woodwork for this, so I will try to get to as many comments on my social media posts about the band, about what we're doing here, as best as I can, to let y'all's voices be heard, because that was a fun part of doing the Wasp and the Armored Saint shows, was letting the fan base get involved and let them also say something. So, without further ado, John the Music Nut, take it away.
All right. Thank you, John. Season Pleasin', the opening track. This was my introduction to video on MTV. Not too many songs that are so exciting, yet are only 3 minutes and 12 seconds. There's a lot going on in this song. I love this song. I love the delivery, the tightness of the band. They're very good musicians. They think of like hair metal, but a lot more gritty. And yeah, there's some balls to this stuff. They're from Austin, Texas. When you see the video, they look like a band from Austin, Texas, because they got the sleeveless denim jackets on. The
Mhm.
Scott, the lead guitar player, he's got the cowboy hat on. Um, but by the second video, Scared, you don't see that anymore. But there's some real grit to this song. Very catchy, great chorus, and it goes into this heavy shuffle during the solo, and then you get Jason with his Steven Tyler on steroids thing here,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And then it
Yes.
goes into this blues before it goes back into the main theme. Yeah, with the drum. Boom, boom, dun, dun, dun. It's awesome.
Yep.
So this
Yep.
track kicks. I mean, this is an excellent track. Full disclosure, favorite songs, the singles to me. Next song is Scared. I like this more because this is more melodic. They put a video out for this where the first video was mostly a performance clip. This is part performance clip and part showing the meaning of the song Scared, particularly on a teenager that's in bed and all these different things that are scaring him. It's really cool. And Beelzebub makes an appearance on here as well. He does on the first video coming out of that
Jack in the Box.
the Jack in the Box. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
kind of like what you're seeing here on the cover.
yeah,
So
pretty much.
kind of sort of.
Yeah, there
Just
you
much
go.
bigger.
Great chorus. Excellent
Yes.
chorus. And the pre-chorus where which is more atmospheric, it brings a different dimension in this song,
Mhm.
which you didn't hear back then. So I think this is the best song on the album. This was just very melodic. Great song. I mean, I listen to this now and it still sounds fresh to me.
Yeah.
Max Norman produced this. He did a good job on this. The only thing, the snare is a little loud, I think, than the drums. But outside of that, I mean, you can again hear the separation within the instruments. It's produced very strong. I do like it. So those are my favorite songs, but there's a lot more to love on here. Bones in the Gutter's heavier. You got a cool chorus in there. That rhythm is really carrying that track, and it's cool. Take Me Drunk has this Van Halen feel to me.
Yes.
Very Van Halen.
Yes. Yes.
David Lee Roth Van Halen.
Yes.
That swinging guitar and that swinging groove. Now, the lyrics, well, John will get more into the lyrics. I mean, about Jason, he has his heart on his sleeve, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. But it's you listen to it now, you're giggling at the lyrics, but the song's cool. Feels like a hammer. I'll say one thing: when they go mid tempo, they really shine. I feel like it feels like a hammer a lot. I also like the guitar solo on this a lot. A lot of guitar solos, they don't really stand out. They're just like fast. It's nothing you haven't heard before, but here the solo really works. It's one that you could sing. So this is one of my favorites on here. Now let's get to Sportin' a Woody. Now, the lyrical content. I mean, oh gosh, I'm sure John will go song and verse. I mean, if he might have to say some Hail Marys, but I'll tell you what, this is catchy as fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But yeah, it's just so catchy. And he's gonna be sporting a Woody till the day he dies. And nothing wrong with that. As long as you're single, or if you're married, it's only your wife. It's all good.
That's right. That's right.
It's a cool tune. I mean, this song's really cool. Now, Queen of the Nile. This is the last song on the album that I really love. This is very spirited and upbeat. I love the way Jason sings it. The guitar lines on here are really strong. Nice chorus on here. Outlaw, next song, which opened a lot of songs on the '89 tour. This is the guitar line borders on thrash. It's pretty heavy. It's a decent song. But the thing that really jumps out to me is that guitar riff. Here Comes Trouble. It's probably my least favorite song, but it's decent. I like it. Now 10 Boots Stompin'. This is a heavy shuffle again. The guitar line is very similar to Teasin' Pleasin'. As
Yeah, a
far
little
as
bit. Yeah.
yeah, it's I mean just playing in a different they're playing in a different style, but the notes are very similar. I
Hmm.
dig this song. Um, and then that song was written by Mike Watson, their bass player.
Yeah.
Last song, that dog, that riff is AC/DC.
Oh
That
yeah,
is an
very much so.
AC/DC riff. But what's interesting is in the second riff they change it, and then on the third verse they go back to that AC/DC riff, and it's a decent closer. One thing about this album, tight. 11
Hmm.
songs, 40 minutes. Longest song, 4 minutes and 11 seconds. 9 songs are under 40. Oh, I'm sorry, under 4 minutes on here.
Hmm.
So, yeah, very tight. I think this album's held up well.
Hmm.
I have a feeling John's going to like this album more than me. I'm going to give this an 8
Okay.
because I think a few of the later songs on the album are just decent. Nothing on here is mediocre.
Hmm.
Let me get that straight. But I think most of the really strong tracks are early on. Again, Queen of the Nile is like the last one that really grabbed me. But
Sure.
it's recorded well, very good musicianship. They're really tight. It's I already said it was recorded well, but very good album for 1989 and hard rock. Yeah. I give this an 8. Very
Yeah.
well done. Good
Well,
stuff.
this album was recorded in at Sound City
Hmm.
and at Van Nuys during September and through November of 1988.
Hmm.
Mixed at the record plants in Hollywood. So yeah, so you have a good studio to record in, so
Yes.
that's also very cool. But gosh, where do I start with this lovely little thing? Oh my goodness. So um one thing I want to show is this was this is a promo version of the CD where
Yeah.
you get the album cover on the front. Now, the promo copy of this album,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the original.
Now,
Just your stock CD.
the promo copy, it comes exactly like this. And that's what it looks like. There's no booklet.
Hmm.
So yes, I went and got me a regular a regular one with the booklet so I could
Right.
look at some of the other stuff in here too. But
Nice.
good God, this was a heavy rotation in the soundtrack of my life back in 1989. This really was.
Nice.
Gosh, I wore this thing out, you know, teasing, pleasing. I mean, come on, that opening riff, you just get this, you get this big blues shuffle, that Texas, that mean, angry Texas boogie that
Mhm.
you just know is just gonna come out and just kick you in the tail. Um, lyrically, okay, yeah, this is just basically a guy who's just kind of finding anywhere he can sleep and and a woman, whatever woman he can be with until there's a until you get to that verse where it says yeah, heard her hunt his voice, I knew I was dead. Love is under the covers, shaking in shock, a blink of my eyes, been stabbed, hung or shot, any kind of reason, feeling for the feeling. Yeah, I mean, come on, this was the 80s. I mean,
Mhm.
there's
Yep.
I can't think of I think I knew some people who probably lived this kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
you know, and was probably kind of proud to admit that kind of thing. But yeah, you get that great solo, and then you get the wow, baby, oh baby, na 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 shoot it about shoot it about shoot it about yeah 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 yeah. That, I mean, come on, that's awesome. You get that slow build back to the chorus. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
what a great kickoff, fun video.
Mhm.
Then we get to Scared, dedicated to Mr. Alice Cooper himself. There's
Mhm.
so many nice little Alice Cooper kind of, Mama's Lace and whiskey on the top shelf. So
Mhm.
that's a nice little tribute there. Of course, the the Black Widow. All these different little nuances.
Mhm.
The but it's such a catchy song. I looked up a video where they they were playing a gig in just like a couple months ago, and they played the song, and maybe I don't know if maybe it wasn't a good recording, but they still sounded great playing this song. It's like Jason says, if we don't do this song, we're gonna get railroaded, or we're gonna get shot or something. But yeah, you got to play Scared. I mean, what a track, just a fun song, great great atmospheric video. Uh,
Yes.
always really enjoyed that video. But again, dedicated to Alice Cooper. Um, yeah, just wonderful track. Um, Bones in the Gutter. This is another one of those songs where it's like, um, again, it's like these guys are just kind of like living on the scourge of society kind of thing. And
Mhm.
you know, I'm like, tells me, hey kid, you want to make $10, but gave me 30 looks. Hey man, tell me what I got to do. Man tore the money right in half, then said to kill the fatted calf. He's tearing a $10 bill and he's asked to go kill somebody. Now, my other question is,
Whoa.
yeah, that's what the yeah, it's like, well, okay, so wait a second. But then I'm like, okay, where does he get a cement mixer for $5? That's what I want to know. But anyway, it's just such an aggressive little track. Musically, it's just kind of, there's some odd chords thrown in there. It's just a
Mhm.
really odd feel, and it's just a cool track. It always was one of my favorites. Damn lady so big, 18 wheeler trailer woman, but she's gonna make me rich as hell. Wait, for $10, really?
Yeah.
That's rich. Okay. Either way, amazing song. Always love Bones in the Gutter. Uh, Take Me Drunk, another one of those Texas boogie shuffles.
Mhm.
Yeah. What more can I say about Take Me Drunk, really? I mean, again, it's like just living that lifestyle of picking up any woman who's drunk and just take her home. There's not really much more I could, but that again, it's that Texas boogie shuffle that
Mhm.
they bring into this song. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Uh, that was another one of my favorites. Feels like a hammer. Man, this one, I was reading through the lyrics again, and I was like, again, I think this is kind of again, kind of an end of a relationship kind of a thing, but it was just such a heavy delivery. Jason just does such a
Oh, yes.
wonderful vocal delivery, great music here. Like you say, the guitar solo is extremely tasty. Just a beautiful way to end side one. Okay, Sporting a Woody kicks off side two. Down, 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 down. Again, another great boogie shuffle, bluesy riff here. Again, what, I hadn't turned 20 yet when this album came out. Again, I'm big time into this album. I can't help but feel like, yeah, I'm being Jason McMaster in this song, because there's there's women in the city. They make me feel shitty, and then some really make me pack a lot. But the ones that are fine, well, they'll never be mine. They won't even give me the time of day. Well, that's kind of how I felt back in the day. Although I was dating somebody, but I won't go into that anyway. But again, just like this person who's just down on. I don't know if they're just down on their luck, but hey, they ain't got no money, ain't got no home. I got to find me a bim to live with tonight. Somebody who's just not gonna worry about getting paid, I guess. But again, such a fun track with that blues riff, that blues and shuffle. Just a wonderful, wonderful track. Uh, very tongue in cheek, very, very tongue in cheek, very humorous, but it's a great track. Queen of the Nile, just another kind of a little up, more up tempo than feels like a hammer. But again, it tells such a wonderful story here. Again, dreaming of that exotic woman to be with, Queen of the Nile, love me like an earthquake. Queen of the Nile, please let me be your king. It's like, yeah, great track. Another fun song. I love that at the end of the song, a little sweet picking thing going on.
Mm.
Um, again, just tells a beautiful story here. Outlaw, to me, Outlaw and Here Comes Trouble kind of go together because they're both about the same kind of thing. You have
True.
Outlaw, you got Outlaw who's just somebody who's just, they're just running from trouble. Same with Here Comes Trouble. You got somebody who's just, you know, not somebody you want your kids to be up looking, talking to, but yet they look up to them for whatever reason. So it's like, but again, you have Outlaws, you got that aggressiveness, like you mentioned. It's just a great, and same with Here Comes Trouble. There's again, it's a kind of a weird shuffle thing going on, but it's such a fun, just a fun track. I don't know. Those are always well liked in my stereo. 10 Boots a Stomping, lyrics here by Mike Watson. Um, five guys, 10 boots. They're going to come. You try to take them. Well, you're in for a fight, and that's just, again, it's that Texas boogie that's
Hmm.
just going to just manhandles. Just great track. Love the song. That dog slows it down. Again, you get that. You get that again, like you say, like that AC/DC kind of feel rhythm, which maybe, I don't know, maybe Dangerous Toys is kind of like if AC/DC was a ZZ Top hard rock band type of thing. I don't
Yes.
know. That's kind of what this is. But I mean, I thought that dog was a great closer. Just another fun track, another great solo there by Scott Dahlhaber. So um, this album for me has just never done wrong. As goofy and silly as it is, with so many of the silly lyrics, it was just me. That was me at 19, 20 years old, and just listening to this thing incessantly. Because again, it's not a long album. It's what, 38, 40 minutes or something like that. 11 songs. You can't go wrong with those great songs. They all have a catchiness to them that just was so evident. I don't know if this was them blowing their load on their first album, you know, because this first album just, to me, was loaded with great tracks, and I think when we get into Hellacious Acres next week, well, we might see a little different there. But for me, I mean, I have to give this a 10 for me, because this was just so much a part of my life. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you. I think you got some good tour information, and then I will, because I'm going to need some time to talk about the Dangerous Toys Nation. So I will give it back to you, my friend.
All right. Thanks, John. Awesome. That was awesome.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Now yeah. Cheers, but coffee
Oh.
this time.
Yeah,
So
we can't do too many of those episodes where we're doing the libations. I'll get kind of goofy after a while. So
yeah,
anyway, go for it.
and I gotta go see mom later. So so now the tour information. Okay, now they did 59 dates in 1989, 47 in the US and 12 in Europe. 1990, they did 30 dates, all in the United States. Let's get to it. And I'm going to tell you all something that I haven't told John yet. So there we go.
Ooh.
Okay, they play Back Room in Austin, Texas. That's their hometown. First Rock at St. Louis, Missouri. Vic Theater in Chicago. They go back and play there again on this tour. Blondie's in Detroit. Hammer Jackson, Baltimore. They go back there again. New Ritz in New York. L'Amour's in Brooklyn. T.A. Verns in Milwaukee. Broadway in Denver. Big Surf in Tempe. Austin Opry House in Austin. Club XS in Houston. Cabaret Theater in Tulsa. Adler Theater in Davenport, Iowa. Metro Center in Rockford. Hara Arena in Dayton, Ohio. Fantasy Theater in Lakewood, Ohio. November 1, 1989, the FM Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
I was there.
Oh, man.
My first show at the FM Kirby Center.
Nice.
They opened. It was three bands that night. They opened and they kicked our asses.
Wow. That's
They
cool.
were fantastic that night. This is all old school theater, 1800 seats, and all the chairs are nailed to the ground. We rushed the stage and they just had us in the palm of their hands that night. They probably only played a 35 or 40-minute set. But when they did Sport No Woody, they were doing what side of the crowd can scream louder thing. And wow, was it loud for Sport No Woody. It
Oh,
was
I bet.
awesome.
Wow.
They kicked ass and took names that night. The rest of the night, when Tora Tora played, who were good, and LA Guns played, who were very good. They've always been good live.
Hmm.
They wouldn't. They had these big security guards, and they wouldn't let us leave our seats the rest of the night
Oh,
because
wow.
we stormed the stage. Now,
Hmm.
Tora Tora were pushing. Oh God, Surprise Attack, I believe was the album, and then LA Guns would have been pushing Cocked and Loaded.
Right.
But yes, it was a memorable night. Great show.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
And that now at this point of the tour, they were playing larger size theaters like the Kirby. Earlier on the tour, they were playing smaller places. They were open for Badlands. They were opening
Mm.
for Extreme and Warrant as well. So to pick up where I left off, the Tower Theater in Upper Darby, which is a suburb of Philadelphia, PA. They played the Orpheum in Boston, Mid Hudson Civic Center, Poughkeepsie, New York, Clifton Park Arena in Clifton Park, New York, Metropole in Pittsburgh, SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois, Starry Night in Portland, Oregon, the Warfield in San Francisco. And their last date in '89 was on New Year's Eve at the Hollywood Palladium in LA. I believe I got. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My apologies. They played the Hollywood Palladium in LA. Their last show was at Long Beach Arena in Long Beach, California,
Mm.
with
Okay.
with Anthrax, Bonham, and the Cult. Imagine the Cult headlined.
Wow.
They
That's
had
a that's an interesting mix because Bonham would have been pushing the
disregard.
time disregard of timekeeping, and they were. I mean that album's kind of poppier sounding. It's not really heavy, but it had the heavy Bonham part to it, but it was very melodic and very lighter sounding. But it was a very good album. Very good album. Very underrated album.
And the Cult were pushing Sonic Temple, which that album I loved. I played a lot in '89. That album took them to the top 10 here in the United States. That was their
Yeah.
breakthrough here in the US.
And Anthrax would have been doing State of Euphoria probably.
Stay Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
which takes us into '90. And in '90, they were staying, they were playing these bigger places. They were going on to the next level. And they were open for it was them and Bonham and then the Cult for pretty much the rest of the night. So they're playing at Fabulous Fox Theater in St. Louis, Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, Cobo Arena in Detroit, Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, the Spectrum in Philly,
Hmm.
Cumberland County Civic Center, Portland, Maine, Boston Garden in Boston, Springfield Civic Center in Springfield, Massachusetts, Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia, Patriots Center, Fairfax, Virginia, UAB Arena, Birmingham, Alabama, the
Huh.
Omni, the Omni in Atlanta, and Irvine Meadows Amphitheater in Irvine, California. And last but certainly not least, the majestic Ventura Theater in Ventura, California. Ooh, that
Nice.
was Spokes Gorilla.
Nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
and again, those dates were with um Bonham and the Cult would have been the headliner. So
I'm
there you
curious.
go.
I'm curious as to what venue they played in here in Birmingham. Obviously, I
UAB,
wasn't living here back then, but
UAB Arena.
hmm, yeah, it may have changed the name since then. But yeah, okay, interesting.
Would that be
Yeah,
University of
University
Alabama,
of
Birmingham?
Alabama at Birmingham. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the school in Birmingham downtown. So yeah, they may have yeah, because like some of the big arenas then was we have one called Boutwell Auditorium that would have I've seen a couple things there, and then the the Civic Center would come along, and the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Complex, I think is called the BJCC. So
Gotcha.
that's where, and they have like a lot of different things. There's like a big arena, then there's like a small theater, like about a 1,500 seater, which I've seen. I saw Steely Dan there. I've seen
Nice.
Yes. I took my wife to see Jersey Boys, production of Jersey Boys. So I've even seen NXT in this place.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It was weird because it's sloped down, and you have the stage, and back on the stage is where the ring was, which is like, this is strange. Couldn't
Right.
see it that well, but anyway, that's a totally different topic. But yeah, so that's interesting. That's very cool that they would have played here. And of course, I wasn't living here yet. I was still in Maryland, but well, very cool.
And
Very,
they
very
had
cool.
every song off the album on this tour. Like, because some of the small clubs they played a full album. And then when
Hmm.
they were opening, they would play like 6 or 7 tracks from this album. And they also played the song Start the Party, JD Lady, and Goodbye Tonight, which I don't, it didn't, they
Mm.
songs didn't come on Hellacious Acres, but they also did do Give Me No Lip on some dates too,
Ah, okay.
which will come up next week.
We'll talk more about that one next week. Okay, Dangerous
All
Toys
right.
fans, here we go. So this is going to take me a while because y'all just went nuts with me here. So I'm going to try and condense this as best I can. So let's see. Wade Trilson, Eric Varga, Chris Barker all basically say love the album, not a bad song on it. Mikey B Bad, not to mention that badass album cover makes for a badass tattoo. I should know I'm wearing it. Woody Lover, a great album. Jason Wells, one of my favorites of all time. Matthew Newberry, Scared is one of my all-time favorite songs. Agreed. Very good song. Jason Gann, epic from start to finish. Still on my playlist all these years later. Great highway driving music if you like to go fast. I
Yeah.
can't drive 55 either sometimes, so I know that feeling. Drew Rhodes, awesome. um, Steve Hickson. I got to see Dangerous Toys when they were still an unsigned band in Killeen, Texas, at a place we called the Zoo. Nice little Scorpions reference there. Um,
Nice.
I knew they were going to hit it big. I think it was right before they signed to Columbia Records, I think. Anyway, my favorites of all the DT songs. Well, he's going into some of the later stuff, so I'll leave
Okay.
it for that. But there's some songs he's picked from like artists and stuff like that.
Okay.
But he loves Queen of the Nile. Please let me be your king. Just a great song. Jack Smith, great album. Picked up the recent CD, loved it. Brian Hill, the very first CD I ever bought. Tracy Smith, great start to finish, hooked on him. Let's see. It Bronson Lee gets played front to back every time. Love it all the way. Mark Schuth, killer album. Tim Prater, Dangerous Toys self-titled album was the soundtrack to my young adult life. And man, when I listen to it today, it takes me back to those days of being young, wild, and free, chasing the girls, all the crazy parties that went on back in the day. Those were the best days of my life. And I'm very grateful for this album. And he throws the
Awesome.
horns. So yes, I know exactly how you feel, Tim. I know exactly how you feel. Jesse Jones, every song on this first album was awesome. Scared, Outlaw, 10 Boots, Queen of the Nile were as good as any of the larger, more popular bands of the era. Definitely underrated. Philo Bido, one of the best albums ever. Would love to find it on vinyl. Greg Rochelle, one of my all-time favorites, actually in my CD player now, as he
Nice.
typed that. Mike Heller, amazing start to finish, and he tagged Jason McMaster on it. Blake Poe, coming soon on vinyl reissue. Boy, I would love to see that. Manuel Haro, awesome album I still listen to. Brian Akey, absolutely love it. Had the cassette, wore it out, bought the CD, and I still listen to it regularly. Misby Haven, great album. Carrie Cox blew me away from the first song on. Brad Leeper, yes, love this album. Rick Mole, fantastic band. Richard Murray, love the debut. Dangerous Toys was not another hair metal band. They stood out as a hard rock band, like an AC/DC Motorhead. It was in your face, pure rock and roll. Exactly. Thank you, Richard, for that comment. Good. All these are great comments so far. Eric Dittmore, if I were to pick my top 20 favorite albums, this would definitely be in it. Darren Walters, awesome from beginning to end. See, I told you this is going to take me a while. Anthony S. Harkis, it's the reason I'm in this group, and I'm the reason, probably the reason he's here. Terrence Grant, great album, have it on vinyl and 2 copies on CD. Brian Martin, effing awesome. Tony Wesley shows off a very sweet tattoo.
Oh, nice.
Can't really see it here, maybe, but you can kind of see it
Oh, that
there a little bit.
rocks.
John Shaw, friggin' awesome album. Rick Kinman, great album. Todd Enderby, it's a phenomenal album. In '89, I won the vinyl off from a radio station in Ashland, Ohio, and I still play it weekly. David Indy Now, Indie Ref, 10 out of 10 album, no fillers, one of my favorite debuts. Scott Smith throws up the horns. Troy Franklin, great album, Sportin' a Woody. Bob McLean, Boo McLean, amazing. Kevin Wells, one of my best albums of all time. Mike Okerts bought this on cassette when it came out. Not a bad tune on it. This album and Tora Tora's first are way underrated. So obviously he likes Tora Tora too. James Young Jr., brilliant, setting the bar in hair metal music. Tom Harrington, awesome. Chris Struble also says awesome. My favorite. Jason Strickland gave a meme with headbanging, doing some headbanging as well as awesome and love it. Angel Ruiz, it's pure awesomeness. Donald Spurell, love this album. Michael Freeman, let's see, he's I think he was hoping that the band would come through Tulsa, would next something like that. Trevor Randall, I'm from a small town in Alberta, Canada, and no one I knew had ever heard or listened to Dangerous Toys, but when I heard Scared on MTV, I just had to go get this album, and I've been a huge fan ever since. 34 years, man. Still love these guys.
Nice.
Chris Rode,
Yeah.
amazing album. Just came out a few years too late, as it wasn't too much longer before everything turned grunge. Had this album come out in 86 or 87, DT would have time to get so much bigger. Jason's vocals are way better than Axl's, because yes, they did come out during it. They did come out at a time when Guns N' Roses was starting to get really big, and he started getting a lot of bands that decided to take that Guns N' Roses blueprint and try to do their own thing with it. And Dangerous Toys got unfairly lumped into that, because they don't sound anything like Guns N' Roses. Bryce Weirham, Never to Be Matched. Boris Badenoff, great album. Brian Willie, hey man, I like being scared. Yeah, me too. Renee Frasola, one of the most underrated albums of that era. Bring that band to NYC and do the first 2 albums in its entirety. Yes, I would be okay with that. Daniel William Hidden, loved it, and it's got some great guitar playing that really comes through on headphones. Sean Humphrey, I was about 16 or 17 and saw this album in my local's record store. I had never heard of them at the time, but the band name and the album art intrigued me. Well, my gamble definitely paid off from top to bottom. It's just a banger after banger. One of the best, also one of the most underrated debuts to come out in the 80s. Their sophomore release, Hellacious Egg Here's, is a killer album as well. Best of Friends is my absolute favorite Dangerous Toys track. More on that next week. Roger Surprise, awesome album. Jay McCormick with a meme of fire blazing. You getting the picture? These guys really came out here. Lance Anderson, excellent. Every song rocks, especially Queen of the Nile. Pat Clements, love this album. Perfect album, dropped at the perfect point in time. Ryan Stallkamp would love to own it on vinyl. Larry Campbell says he can't wait to hear, I guess, our discussion on this. Gustavo Cortina's killer album. Scott Andrus with the thumbs up. Keith Perry, masterpiece from start to finish. Been waiting for the new album for years. There's been a lot of talk about a supposed new album coming from him. Love the latest song, Hold Your Horses, which I know there is something out there. Sounds like a song that would have could have been on the debut. Let's see. JC Riddle, effing amazing. Blaine Logan, one of my favorite all-time albums. Tim Helmich, one of my favorite albums, bands, Jason Masters, totally underrated singer. Calvin Jordan, good album, but I saw them open for LA Guns in '89 with Tora Tora opening the show, and Tora Tora blew them away. Not a very good live band, but of course, LA Guns was in their prime and untouchable. So apparently, they must have caught Dangerous Toys on a bad night, maybe. Bill Murphy, badass. Randall Davis, such a killer album. Always been one of my favorites. Steve Hammond, masterpiece. Cecil Pedro Tipton, love every album. Anthony Paeva, great album. Larry Kennett brings back some memories. I would also have loved to find this on vinyl. Drive-in theater camper, interesting thing. I saw Dangerous Toys and Metal Church as the opening acts for Motorhead, Alice Cooper, and Judas Priest back in 1992. And he talks about a song that they do for the Shocker soundtrack. Y'all remember that lovely movie, the Ballad of Horace Pinker, called the song called Demon Bell. Let's see. Ralphie Mez, loved it. Jeff Perry, so awesome. Love this album. Nick Kinsley, absolute beast. Jared Roton, love the album beginning to end. One of the most underrated albums of the '80s. There's everybody's just kind of repeating the same thing here. There's still so many comments to go, but I think I've probably lost everybody in by this point. So thank you all. There's probably at least two dozen more people here I could say, but it's a lot of everybody was saying basically the same thing. Love it, masterpiece, awesome album, great memories of the time when it first came out. So to all of you people who responded and even reacted on Facebook in the Facebook group, I had like 461 reactions to this thing.
Nice.
Oh, and let me, I forgot to mention one little thing. So, so we have this lovely little cover here drawn by a man named Tommy Hans. Okay. So he puts a comment in this thing, and I'm like, wow, first of all, thank you for even putting something in there. He messages me, and he's kind of, he's just being he's doing a sales pitch, but I'll tell you what, if I had a big enough house where I could display some of this stuff, heck yes, I would love to do this. Because he said, hey, I got a couple pieces here, but it's like one's like a 12 by 16, another's a 20 by 34 of the mascot Bill. It's just like I said at the beginning, Iron Maiden has Eddie, Riot has that whatever that thing was with the whatever that thing was. I don't even know what.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
but everybody's got bands have those mascots. Well, Dangerous Toys without Bill just doesn't. Yeah, you can't have it. It just doesn't happen. Just it just makes it part of the band. So anyway, that was a lot of ground to cover from the group, and I really, really, really appreciate that. And I just got to say, I look forward to talking about Oasis Acres next week. That's going to be a lot of fun too. John, catch us up. What do we need to be looking out for?
I got a lot of stuff lined up. I'll be quick. We did this. Peter and I filmed a show for who could have replaced Bon Scott and AC/DC if Brian Johnson wasn't available. He let me know that we'll be dropping this week. Other than that, I mean, we're going to continue the Dangerous Toy series. I got a bunch of stuff lined up with Grant's Rock Warehouse. I'll probably be on there you go. There's the t-shirt. Yeah, I got one too. Mine's a charcoal gray. I'm on the Contrarians. I'm going to be doing a show. It'll be my first show that will be on Mike Ladano's channel. Grab a Stack of Rock.
Cool.
I'll be doing a show on December 15th with them live. That'll be Friday the 15th. Yeah, so yeah, I got a lot lined up. So and I'm gonna be doing another show with Joe B on Wasting Some Time with Average Joe. So yeah, check them out. Thanks.
lots of good friends of the channel. Like I said, I was
Absolutely.
I had to plug Grant because he's been a
Grant's awesome.
long time friend of the channel. And gosh, I've done. We just did a one thing that you could catch on his channel is we did a long series where we went album by album on April Wine. And here it is, Sunday, December 3rd, as we're talking about this. And earlier, the news broke that Miles Goodwin, the singer and one of the key songwriters from April Wine, had passed away. So that was big news. So we're trying to get the band back together, and we'll try to do some kind of a tribute show for Miles in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I mean, good friends to the station, rock between Rock Daydream Nation, Joe B and Grant, the Contrarians, and so many other channels that we have participated. Mike Ladano, of course, wonderful friend of the channel. So we're very appreciative of what he's doing. And so yeah, so we got some good friends out there. Love
We
those
do.
folks. Tim's Vinyl Confessions, of course, another
Bicycle
good
legs.
one. Bicycle Legs, just a plethora of wonderful folks out there that if you need some good musical content, there's play. I try to tag them all. Go check them out. It's good stuff. So
Absolutely.
all right. So there you go, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about this album. Was our excitement a little too over the top? Maybe did I go a little too deep off the deep end with the Dangerous Toys Nation? No, because I wanted to try to get as many of your voices heard. So because you guys make these shows. So I appreciate
Well,
that. I appreciate that. So for my good friend John the Music Nut on these lovely Wednesday shows that you see, yes, the 5 count is what we should call it, but it always beyond the 5 count. But anyway,
true.
uh John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, we will see you next week when we get into some hellacious acres. We'll see you then.
Cheers.